how Melissa lost the car, right? Watch the other episode because it was incredible. She already has demonstrated the mastery over spiritual mastery over the material world. And that's what this is the skill we're learning here and honing and mastering. So that's what this case study is all about. We want to show how Melissa dealt with a very difficult life situation, because losing the car was, for her, it was an accident and it was life-threatening situation. And so she demonstrated her mastery there as well. And now we are on the second part that describes, or we will show how Melissa got the new car in a very magical way, as we say.
All right. So obviously, right after the accident, everyone immediately started asking, so what's going to be your next car? Do you know what you want? Do you know what brand? And I was like, no, I'm not going to think about it. I didn't feel any want or need or desire to do any research. And I kind of just sat with that for a couple of weeks, and every day people asked, have you thought about it yet? And I was saying no.
Because traditionally, or in a normal way, you have to run to the computer and start researching, because you need to very quickly find the car, because Melissa works, she has to drive, she has to function like everybody else here. And why she was sitting, why were you sitting and waiting? What were you waiting, right? Because divinely, you were not guided at that time to take any action. So I'm just commenting to show what the master is all about. You were calm, peaceful, and you were waiting for the divine guidance to telling you when to start and what to do, correct?
Correct.
And that could be nerve-wracking. That could be nerve-wracking for everybody else, because people don't trust God. Many people don't trust God. So they will rely on themselves and their human skills to find the car, because the car will not come to them. Although we have proven many times over that it might not be the case, right? The car came by magic. So you followed divine guidance saying to you, do not take any actions at this moment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for really a good couple weeks, I did nothing. At one point, I did sit down because I was prompted to sit down and write out what I wanted out of my next car. And that was pretty much it. And I let that go. And so there was one day where...
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm making spiritual teaching points here. You did not do anything. It's for you, it's second nature, because that's why you're not even acknowledging it. But as a mentor, I have to... You've been doing spiritual work. You continue healing inside, because we were waiting for the time when inside you were ready to receive the new car. So it's not that you're sitting and doing nothing. You are actually very busy healing and changing inside, so you can be ready to receive the car that the divine has prepared for you.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So yeah, I was sitting, outwardly not doing much, inwardly doing a lot, finally came up with a list, and I still let that go. So I sat with it a little bit longer, until a random Thursday. I was not at work. I had plans for something else to happen at home, and that fell through. And then suddenly I was guided to go to this particular auto dealership at this particular time. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. Let me go.
And it was already miraculous, because that day you were not supposed to be going to dealership, right? You were planning, or not even planning at all. But in a normal way, it would be happening on a weekend, because you work usually.
Right. I had planned to go that weekend. I had no desire really to even go car shopping, because I remember the last time it took a whole day. It was exhausting. I didn't want to repeat that process. So I wasn't anticipating going, but then I felt a big, strong pull to go. So I went. And as soon as I arrived, this person comes up and here's what I want. I say I want a hybrid SUV. And he says, we only have one in stock and it is here right now. Do you want to see it? He takes me to the back and it is literally being rolled right in front of me, still stickers covered, and I'm the first person to see it. It is being delivered to the parking lot right now. And he says, you know, it has all the upgrades. It's the white color I wanted. It has all these extra features that I liked, but I had convinced myself I wasn't going to get because it was too much in my head at that time. But it met everything that I was asking for. It was white, it was hybrid, it was SUV, all-wheel drive. So it met the requirements and more. But then he goes on to say, okay, you're here, but there's 2 people ahead of you for this car in line. And one of them is signing the papers right now. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be your car. Okay, so I'm kind of sad, but kind of okay. So we go inside and he says, okay, there's this other car, which was my second option, but it does not meet all the requirements. It only meets half of them. It's not hybrid. It's not the right color. It's a different model, but it's available right now. And I think about it and I'm like, no, that's not what I came here for. That's not what guided me to come here. Okay, well, the guy's like, well, okay, the next hybrid SUV that will come will be coming next week. Can you wait a week? I'm like, well, I guess I can. There's no real urgency for me to get it now. I still have a rental. I still can get around, so it's fine, but not ideal. So I say, okay, let me get my name on the list. He puts my name on the list and then he disappears for a good like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I'm sitting there mentally thinking, I was brought here for a reason, but am I supposed to get another car? Am I supposed to go to another dealership? He comes back and says, the car is yours. The first 2 people who were supposed to get this car, they can't afford it, but we think you can. And do you want it? And I had a split second to say, yes, I want this car. And we got the paperwork started. It was very easy. I was the only person to see the car. I was the only person to test drive the car. Whoever was doing the paperwork ahead of me, they were doing paperwork and never even saw the car. I was the one who saw it unraveled in front. I test drove it. I left the dealership with only 10 miles on that car. And it was my dream car, which I didn't think I could get, but it was there. And yeah. And then
How
it
about the
didn't,
name?
yeah, it didn't hit until the day after. So this car, it's a RAV4 hybrid. There's different tiers. And that very top tier level is called Limited. The brand I got was an XSE version. And I thought about it afterward that morning, and I realized all the upgrades that my car had received made it that limited version, but without the limited name. So I had my dream car, top tier level, and he had even said, this is top of the line. He kept repeating it. Top of the line, everything's maxed out. And I questioned him, like, but that's not the limited version. He's like, it's the top. And then it hit me because it was everything, just not the name. And I realized I could not get the name limited. My old car was a RAV4 limited, and I had to discard that to get something that was top of the line, not limited.
With a human mind, you could not possibly imagine creating this scenario, right? To get the car and to go around the name, to get the top of the line car that you didn't anticipate to get, because in your sort of limited human mind, it was too much. And you were cautious, of course, you're responsible. And then divine always wants us to have the best if we accept it. And you've been doing the spiritual work for quite a long time to accept it, right? Not only that, but unlimited. And
So
when we heard this story, we, of course, we celebrated Melissa, because this is just spiritual mastery. And you said that they even at dealership, people were saying it's a miracle.
That the fact that I was third in line, I had shown up unannounced. He was explaining that, you know, people have been waiting for this car for months. Anytime a RAV4 hybrid comes, all the agents text their clients, and then there's this wave of people who come in and they wait to see who gets it first. So the fact that I didn't know that it was going to be the only one and it matched everything I wanted. This car had been ordered 2.5 months prior to arriving that day. I had no clue this is what I was going to be getting, but apparently things were set in motion. It was going to be mine. Top of the line for me specifically. And yeah, the final agent was like, this is a miracle. This doesn't happen. I'm like, haha, yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So,
and
yeah.
Interestingly enough, you manifested it in such an easy way, right? Did it feel an easy way, the flow way? You didn't stress about it, and you didn't even research it. You didn't even think about it. All you did was to put what you wanted, and
I wrote it down,
and followed the divine guidance. So this is our process. This is how we learn. This is how we do it here. And it works. And it works. We repeatedly demonstrated it, right? Because you were waiting for your story, and finally you got your story. That is exactly how we operate here. And that's the big demonstration of the spiritual mastery. Would you say that's what it is?
Oh, for sure. And again, compared to before, I was at a dealership all day long. I was in and out of this dealership in 4.5 hours. And they were like, this was very quick. Like, yeah, I was ready for it. There was no reason not to get it this easy. Little hiccup with, you know, 2 other drivers ahead of me, but what's half an hour to wait in the big scheme of things?
Exactly. Compared to, well, we know why you had to wait. You didn't even need to wait. Why, remember why 2 drivers were in front of you?
Yeah. So, I mean,
what did you have to clear?
That first concept of, oh, when I saw it, this is too much. So to be still thinking that I did not deserve this, and that it was bigger, or not bigger, but more than I had anticipated taking on. But because it was easy, then I knew, okay, then I'm ready for it. And
so you cleared, you recognized it, right? You recognized it, and you clear it very fast, because we know how to do it. And you switch to the receptive mode. And once you were able to receive, then everything opened up. So it was you who delayed it for your 30 minutes, but at least 30 minutes is nothing compared to how much people resist and how much people don't get because of so much resistance and not doing the spiritual work, right? So that was not a hiccup. That's what normal way how we handle it.
Yep.
And divine always wants to give us the best if we accept it. So divine gave you the best. And of course, we know that decision is first, money will follow.
Mhm.
And so decision was made, you accepted this top of the line car. And now are you afraid? Do you worry? Are you concerned about the money?
No, not at all. Like I pretty much said, if this car is meant to be for me, then the means will come to pay off this car as well. There's no reason for me to worry or stress about it. Yes, it's more than I came in thinking I would pay, but that's my mental side talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened at the end? Happy tears of joy?
Once I figured out the limited name part and the not getting the limited name part, I was literally crying for a good couple of minutes and I was at work. But I couldn't help myself. That was an ultimate feeling of in awe and feeling like for sure God wants the best for me and is providing for me. And just the magnitude of what this all meant for me personally, there were a few happy tears for sure.
And how everything was unfolded in front of your eyes in a very fast way, in a divine guide, green light flow, as we call it, and easily and effortlessly. And you got the car you had no idea you would get.
Mhm.
Everything was like magic.
Mhm.
And it was magic in
It
very
really
good
was.
sense. Mhm. And now you're driving the car, and how is your feeling?
It's great. Like, yes, it's a very nice car with all the upgrades. But it is the physical manifestation of all the years of work that has gone into it. That it's
Very well said.
yeah.
Very well said. Because people outside could think, oh, it just, you're lucky. It just happened. We know better. There is no luck involved here. Spiritual work and the protocol and the system, how we do it. And you were doing it every day. You were doing what you were supposed to do spiritually, and it all worked out.
Better than I could have thought.
Better than you could have thought, and in an opulent way.
Mhm.
Yeah. Amazing. And that's why I wanted to share this story, because it is truly demonstration of the spiritual mastery over the material world. So what would you say to women entrepreneurs who are invited to the Divine Guidance Challenge that I periodically offer? What would you tell them?
I would say that if you really, really want to know where you are in your life, what your purpose is, any questions about any aspect of your life, and you want answers from a reliable source, your God self, then there's no questions how else to develop that communication but to learn about divine guidance signs. And this is the class to do it. It's fun, it's easy, it's work, but it's easy and it's fun, and you will grow that personal connection, and everything will be better for it.